Well, we've had a bit of time to catch our breath and settle things down. What an amazing start to the racing here at the Marseille SailGP Grand Final. We've assembled our experts here in the studio. We've got Matt Cornwell and Jan Rocherio, and then in the commentary studio, we've managed to put together Jodie Shields and Shirley Robertson. Lovely to see you guys.
We're exhausted.
It was fun.
It's only day one, Ed. I'm not sure how we're gonna cope. They should have a heart rate monitor on us, maybe.
That was one of my favourite things, actually, that I saw all day, was that near 200 beats per minute from the Japanese grinders. We'll get straight into the action, though. We've had a question from Grunders in Surrey, who wants to know what the best manoeuvre you saw today was. Matt, we'll start with you.
Probably my favourite situation was in that last race, the last top mark, and there was a situation where the Japanese were coming in on starboard, the Australians were coming on port, and it was whether the Australians were going to cross the Japanese and go for that right-hand mark, which would have meant they probably would have won the race, but they didn't. They tacked. They went pretty high because, well, here we go. Here's footage of it. This is brilliant. So I thought the Australians would try and cross them there, which would have given them that right-hand mark, and they probably would have been away then to the finish. But they tacked it. They're really so. They go pretty high because they don't want the Japanese to roll over the top of them. Japanese have got no rights to go in there, but because they've opened the door, they just dived inside and said, thanks very much, we'll take this race. An extra little point for us.
Yeah, you just need the courage to put the nose down there, because you need to keep clear from the Aussie boat. So
yeah, that's right.
Jodie, Shirley, what do you guys make of that? Do you think it would have been a different scenario had that been in the championship final race? Do you think Tom would have tried harder to close the door?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I would have thought Tom would go to the right-hand side, because the great British team who did go to the right-hand side sailed 350 metres less than the Aussies who went to the left in that one leg alone. And like Shirley said, that's a big difference between meterage. So, you know, if he had his time back again, I'm guessing Tommy would have just bailed out to the right and sent it down the seaside. So
yeah, it was a surprising error from the Aussie team, and I guess they're not infallible, are they, in their decision making?
There's pressure.
Yeah,
there's
a lot on, and yeah, that was a surprising error. I thought. I doubt if we'll see that come the match racing final.
I reckon.
Okay, a statement of intent, though, definitely from Nathan Outridge as to what he's willing to risk to take the win off Tom Slingsby at this stage. Next question that's come in, have a think about this one. It's how compromising and how difficult is it to make repairs in between the races? Jan, have you got any experience of this?
yeah, unfortunately, I think we all have at some points, and the US team after the capsize has also to repair lots of things. The thing that when it's just happening, you never know how long it's going to take. So it's just putting the pressure high, and then you wait for the technical teams. And finally, for them, it only takes 2 races. It doesn't kill totally the days, even if they did not manage to catch up on the 3rd race. But yeah, you really never know what's going to happen, and you really need, especially on this A50, to wait for the technical teams to advise on how to repair.
But Matt, it felt like, even though they got the boat back on the water, back in the race for the 3rd fleet race, it felt like the day had slipped away from them. They weren't able to recover.
It's a huge dent in their, their chances of getting that 3rd spot. They'll be really disappointed after today. I mean, they've had a bit of gear failure after the capsize in Cows, but they bounced back pretty well. I'm sort of surprised they didn't get the events tech team to come in and help. Maybe they just thought there wasn't enough space or an opportunity for them to really help out. It was a down line, so they're only sort of replacing one line on the board, Could they have got it done for the 1st race, or for the 2nd race rather? I don't know. It's a horrible feeling for the sailors, because you're watching the clock and you're hearing Ian Murray talk about the next race, and the time's ticking away, and there goes another race. And when you're here and you really want to take the opportunities they're here to have a good last race in the season, that's just not what you want.
Jodie, it definitely feels like the race for 3rd place is starting to heat up at this stage, and that could have cost you the US dear.
I think it's cost them a lot there, Ed, because coming into race 1, it was the USA were in theory the only team that still could have made the match race final, and they lost 2 races, and now all their only option is for 3rd. And as Matt was saying there before, they had to replace a rope, and normally you could do that in a blink of an eye, but under the pressure that's involved, and they say we can't lose 2 races, and then they actually called for a 10-minute redress, They were after another 10 minutes to try and slow the next race down. So, yeah, they would have just been hating life right at that stage, that's for sure.
It's
Shirley,
really
they
hard.
talked about how
yeah.
sorry. They
It's
talked
really
about how
hard,
stressful
Ed.
it is.
So stressful. I mean, you've been prepping. I mean, the shore team have been prepping and prepping. They've been here for like 10 days prepping the boat, and you know everybody's ready to go, and then you're just sitting there, as Jodie said, watching the clock go down. And the hardest thing, you know, especially if you start to miss races, you miss the flow and the communications and reading the course. And I mean, you come in, you're just, you know, you're not on your A game like the other boats. So really hard. I don't think it's over yet, though. Tomorrow, you know, it's going to be punchy. More wind, more drama. I mean, I'm sure there'll be crashes. It'll be about keeping the wheels on, you know, getting that boat, you know, round the course, both days, actually. So it'll be a different style of sailing tomorrow, and it's definitely not over yet for that third spot.
Jodie's got so excited about the prospect of it that his earpiece has fallen out. Wind permitting, we're going to have 5 more fleet races to decide that third place. So a lot at stake there. Third and final question for today's Facebook Live is, does the shape of the wing change during the race? We'll start off with you, Shirley. I mean, you've got a fair bit of experience of this.
Well, I think today, massively, you know, particularly on that last race, when the stats were coming up for the temperature of the pumps, I mean, I think everyone was saying, you know, the alarm's gone off, our pumps are over 80, which means they're adjusting the twist of the wing continuously, you know, as well as obviously the foils. And it was that kind of day where you had to be proactive about what was going to hit you. And I guess the guys with the most experience who could change modes quicker and anticipate the next mode, you know, they flew around that course. And so a huge amount of changes. You obviously, you see the wing trimmer with a rope, but basically that's just that's the in and out. That's the main sheet, to use an old-fashioned term. Or the traveller. It's like a traveller on a boat. But the guys with buttons, with hydraulics, are adjusting the shape further up. You know, how much twist or how closed they make that wing. So today there was a lot going on. A lot going on. A
lot of twist was getting used. And like Shirley just explained, the camber, for people out there, that, you know, there's two pieces to your wing. You got the front piece, which was solid, and the back piece, which is what Shirley's explaining there. You can actually twist it off, so you can open it up and let the air dispel out of the top. They can also make the wings do that, so they make it nice and deep, puts lots of power in it, makes it nice and flat, takes the power out of it. So that's constantly changing. The back edge is constantly changing. The guys will have sore fingers after today because they were working pretty hard on that adjustment.
There's no shortage of those high temperature readings as well that we saw from the pumps, just because they're working them so hard.
Yeah, really tricky, really gusty, patchy conditions. So because the breeze is constantly changing, you're having to change the mode, not just the wing, it's also the boards too. You've got the rake functions, which controls the lift of the boards. Plus you're also doing a bit of camber in and out. Plus the boards going up and down. You know, the pumps are, they're the hardest working guys out there today.
And interestingly, Jan, the shape of the wing directly affects how the boat's going to sail. So the communication between wing trimmer and flight controller is again, that's put under the same amount of pressure as the pumps.
Yeah, it's so important, especially when there is some pressure and lower wind area, because they were on small foil today. So if they are really losing speed by having bad shape in the wings, then it takes a long time to go back flying. So they were really focused, and I'm pretty sure on board we're going to hear lots of discussions between the trimmers. It's really the key.
Okay, thank you all so much for your insight today. Shirley, Jodie, fantastic commentary as always. Absolutely fascinating insight. Matt, Jan, thank you so much for all your analysis on today's racing. We're going to be back tomorrow. We've got 3 fleet races, and the wind is set to be some of our most challenging yet. It's going to be a dramatic weekend. We'll see you tomorrow.